joining us in the Bioscience Boardroom. Today we're going to talk about contract manufacturing. So this is something that is very useful if you are a doctor, a veterinarian, somebody who doesn't have access to the resources that's needed to go ahead and have the product that you want to bring to market fully manufactured by yourself. Now, contract manufacturing can come in all sorts of different forms, and so it's about putting you in touch with the right people to serve your need. Okay, now, how many steps are there when you're looking at contract manufacturing? Let's say your first step is that you want to make sure you know exactly what it is you need and you are finding the right people. Now, you have to go out and you have to do some investigation and some searching in order to find the right people with the right specifications that you believe at the very beginning. And so you need to do the search, okay? And so you need to know your capabilities. So what are you looking for? You need to know where. So for instance, if you have a product you're going to bring to market in one specific country, then you're going to want to make sure that you are looking for a manufacturer in that country. Whereas you don't want to go through importations, exportations, and transportation, adding to the cost of for the end user and for yourself for cost of goods. So once you have some ideas, you're going to wind up getting some conversations, you're going to talk to a variety of different people. The next thing you want to be doing is you want to be signing some sort of a confidentiality disclosure agreement, especially with those people, to make sure that whatever you're talking to them about, that they aren't able to go ahead and speak to another individual. All right, so once you've had some very basic conversations, then what? Okay, so next up, you want to look about whether or not this is feasible. So let's say I'm bringing something to market and I have a very specific set of parameters that I'm going to make use of in the manufacturing of this product, and I have to meet certain regulatory guidelines. Does the manufacturer that I'm looking at and talking to actually have the capability in order to go ahead and do this? This is really important because you will wind up finding that different organizations, different manufacturers really do have specialties within specific areas. So maybe one manufacturer, so for example, you're talking to a plastics manufacturer, but what they really do is more deal with medium-sized enterprises, whereas you are a small enterprise. But they will probably have the right contacts within the network to be able to get you to the person that would be the right fit for you. So make sure you're open to having those conversations. So let's say that you have proceeded, you've got the right person. What's next? Now you want to make sure that you have a process in place. So you're going to work with them, you're going to develop that process, make sure that whatever you're doing from maybe laptop or small scale, you can go ahead and fit within their system. The other thing that you're going to want to make sure of is that you're able to have the analytical tools you need in order to completely assure yourself, the manufacturer, the regulators, and the end user of the product that you are actually producing what you said you're going to produce. Okay? Now, it could be something as simple as weight, it could be something more complicated as ELISAs or various assays. That's up to you depending on the product, of course. What happens when you do that? Then you wind up going into your pilot. So that's, you're going to do pilot scale, pilot plant. At this point in time, you'll also, depending on the complexities, you'll also have a much better idea. I mean, obviously through here, you had some idea about pricing itself, but this is much better for looking at on a commercial scale. Okay, so you have a much better idea of your pricing, your cost of goods going out fully commercialized. Okay, and so here you're also going to have some of your samples. Okay. Now, once you've gone through your pilots, once you know you're good to go, once you know that you have something that is viable, that the pricing is going to work, what happens next? Next up, you're going to have your validation. So for example, in the case of a biologics manufacturer or a drug manufacturer, you might have to produce a certain number of batches in a row consistently with whatever analytical tools have been properly approved by your government regulator. This is something that's very technical, and you need to make sure that the paperwork processes to prove and validate that your systems are in place, running and operating efficiently, really are proper. From here, you're also going to have, of course, your quality control systems, and this is regulatory. Okay, so at this point in time, you want to make sure that you've got your full approvals after this, you're ready to rock and roll. And what happens after all of the approvals come in? Now you're at commercial scale. Which also means, congratulations, you can now go and sell your product. Okay. Okay, so now that you're able to sell the product, who do we need to make sure that we're thinking about as we go through a contract manufacturing process? There's an awful lot of stakeholders that are involved in these different areas. You've got manufacturing operations, you've got regulatory affairs, you've got legal, you've got your validation groups, your product development groups, purchasing, financing, sourcing, your supply chain, project management, which is involved in every step, of course, your quality assistance and quality control, quality assurance. All of these people have different places along the path that you really need to have their areas of expertise covered off. And if that's not you, then we can help make sure that you're put in touch with the right people. Okay, join us next time for our next conversation.